And a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the WTRL Zwift Racing League, week number 5. We are on for the third race of third broadcast of the day. Not the third race of today. We've had plenty of races so far already. APAC region with two races and a whole lot of divisions amongst them. And then we've got all of the East and West for Europe, men and women. Been a long day of divisions racing it. Now it's on to the Americas, East and West. I'm going to be on here with Dave next to me for the East. And then on the West, we are going to be having Kate Bates and Dave covering them. New York, everything bagel. We've seen a lot of action, a lot of different races playing out. I think, Dave, today has been a lot about the tactics are, I'd say it's played out really differently between the races, mainly because conservative versus just going full on. Like whether or not these riders are willing to take big risks, and that's a lot of times the name of bike racing, how much of a risk, because you've only got so much energy that you can lay out on the course. And we've seen it pay off here and there. We've also seen a lot of suffering and attrition. I think in this last race that we covered in the men's West, we saw a situation where Brett Boniface ended up solo, obviously with restart, all alone. And I think they ended up losing their lead in the series overall because of the risks that were taken. So it's been a very interesting day, and I think this course has opened up a lot of tactics.
Yeah, one of the things, Nathan, I was really impressed by was how, tactics, and you have to learn how to read a race. The Kirchmeier team, Stefan Kirchmeier from Austria today. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like that before, winning every single preem or bonus sprint and winning the outright race. A clean sweep. That was phenomenal. And then what the Aeonian women did, there was a lot to learn from that. They put 5 riders into the top 10 in their race. You talk about stacking the top 10, don't do much better than that. And I think that they had 6 in the top 12. It was quite a performance. So the Everything Bagel, 34K of racing, Nathan, this course is really, really challenging. It's actually almost a perfect road course when you look at it. It's really hard to get away, but it is very, very selective. The groups that have been going to the line for the finish, typically less than 20 riders. We've seen solo breakaways work earlier today. One of our colleagues who broadcast that first race this morning is actually out racing. Anna Russell will be jumping in with Sarah's The Pros Closet. She also directs the team. So, she's a very, very versatile human being. That's for sure. We have a lot to look forward to. The men and the women, America's East, America's West coming up a little bit later. But here we go, Nathan, the Everything Bagel. Let's serve it up toasted.
Let's go ahead and jump right in and see what's happening with the jam on the bagel today.
The legs are toasted, right?
It's going to be ATP Racing Venom at the top, but it's Sarah's The Pros Closet trying to catch up, 4 points behind 75. This is the current standings in this Division A for the women, and Finesse Wahoo Chicks there, 73 points in third. Seesaw Race Like a Girl Do, that's the second team for them. That is going, their B category. Well, it's not B category, but it's their development team. I would call it their second team. And then it's going to be Crouching Galloping, 64 points. Revo Whips there. BRT Dart Kittens there. Wadi Inc. Washington. Is that Washington? I'm assuming there. Wadi Inc. WA. And then ATP Racing Stingers and Ms. Understood sitting in 37th. It's not 37th place, but 37 points for the Bees. Then let's go ahead and head right on through. As they are also, there is no B's on this one. There is a C's though. That's all yours there, Dave.
Yeah, we combined the B's in there, and some of those women have been doing a tremendous job. But yeah, the C's here with Z Tsunami, 76 points. It's close. ATP Racing Hive sitting in second, just 2 points back with 74, and then 2 more back to Wadi Inc. WC2. You've got the Margaritas in fourth, Revo Doves in fifth, BRT the Flaming Kittens in sixth, Herd of Otters, Cryogen Obesque, No Drama Llamas. I like that team name. And then CCNS Merry Christmas. That is your top 10 right
Merry
now. But again,
Cranksters. I like that name, the Merry Cranksters. It's a little
coming into their time of year.
Yeah, some people argue just wait, hold on just a minute here, hold your horses, but we'll let it slide with the Cranksters as they're cranking away out there today. So that's the situation currently out on course. Let's go ahead and see what is happening out on course here, as we do have things breaking up already. I did see Anna Russell and the Sarsa Pros Closet ladies out there as they do head into their first climb. And it does come at them pretty quickly here as we already see that Queen of the Mountain line on the right-hand side of the course here.
Boy, Nathan, I would not want to go on a group ride with Catherine Curie that started with a hill. That's for sure. It was relentless in the women's race that we watched earlier. And it looks like this is going to be Anel Radford, the South African rider here, that is going to do, it looks like something similar, Nathan. They just blow it up. The climb comes at you just a few K in. If there was ever a race to be warmed up, and this is brutal to watch, but it's happening again. Here we go, Nathan. So this is going to be Easler now. I wonder how many women we'll have together by the time we go through our first of 4 bonus sprints. So have to remember that not everybody's been with us for the many hours that we've already been out racing on this course. Kind of hit the refresh button for you. So 34 kilometers of racing on the Everything Bagel course. This is the America's East Women, A's and the B's combined here. And Nathan, this course starts out so hard. Typically, well, not there is no typically in the world of Zwift racing or e-racing, but expect to see between 20 and 30 riders who really survive this first barrage here.
Now, quick little shout out. I did hear Anna actually at the end of the broadcast yesterday giving a little bit of hint about they were going to do something about a 1-2 punch or a 2-3 or 3. I don't know. I was listening a little bit, but I have a feeling. And when you come into a race and you have a plan, and you know that there's a plan, and you got people who are backing you on that plan, there's something about even if it fails, you have some extra motivation, I would even say energy to give. Abandonment, if there's a certain type of plan, I actually will give more to the abandonment toward just extra pain into that plan and just executing it to the greatest of my ability because I knew that I played my part. And I think that can put other teams and other riders on a back foot who are not maybe quite as willing at those moments. There's more unsurety. There's more of a guessing game if they don't come with their own plan. And if you come with a plan that is about taking the course, it's about taking the initiative, it could really put people on the back foot. And I have a feeling that's what Sars is up to here with this first punch.
I love it, Nathan, and I completely agree. There's nothing worse than being on a team that doesn't have a plan, that's not cohesive. And clearly, Sarah's the pros closet. And Anna, again, is one of our colleagues here at Zwift. She does broadcasting, a former triathlete, much like Anel Radford here, who competed at the ITU triathlete representing South Africa at the World Triathlon Series and World Cup races. She now lives in Sydney and is definitely going to be a big part of this race. I'm taking a look at around in this group. Obviously, the teams to watch here: ATP Venom, without a doubt. Sarah's the pros closet, Finesse Wahoo. There's Rachel Lieberman moving up. Very dangerous rider, Nathan. So, boy, the cream rising right to the top here. That's going to be Colson that we're looking at. Lauren Colson. She's out of New England here. One of the American riders on that team, and absolutely a rider to watch here today. A climbing specialist and a previous winner we're looking at now, Nathan, on the very, very front. Boy, talk about making a selection here. Great at 13% right now. Unbelievably steep.
We're going to have a really different situation here in the Americas because the participation numbers are a little bit lower. And because of the participation numbers being a little bit lower, it does open up a couple more doors, a couple more avenues for riders to take some more risks as well. Because you don't have this large blob, the large pack that's going to be able to chase you down with that snowball effect quite as much. Right. There's this second kick to the line here. It does look like it's going to be Colson taking down some points with Stoll right on the wheel. Lieberman there as well. Finesse Wahoo Chicks there taking it. Looks like maybe, going to grab that fourth, and then it's going to be ATP with 3. Now, Santoyo, though, with a counter, it looks like to try and get 3 ATP off the front. This could be a done and dusted race right from the get-go if there's not a solid chase, because behind here, we are seeing Saris. They're the only ones with the numbers. I think they're going to be able to make a chase. Revo Whips perhaps as well, but ATP, they're the other ones that are on the wheels here. They're not going to have a big interest to chase their teammates down if they are off the back. Galloping, though, it looks like with Cryogen uninvolved, this is already breaking apart now at this point. And this rider from Wahoo, Finesse here, needs to get on terms, because if you are not a part of this conversation of at least these 5 riders now, your race is already over, I think.
Boy, I mean, Nathan, at this point now, we're just coming up on 5 kilometers in. There is no peloton left. This race is absolutely shattered now, like dropping a frozen crystal onto the cement. So, all right, this is going to be Christina Grossman here, a rider really with a great trajectory here, racing out of New York. Is boy, she looks motivated today. Again, that's a Saris the Pros Closet. Watch out for that yellow and green jersey. They're one of the teams that's going to look to try to unseat ATP Venom here in that conversation. Now, just a few points separating our top teams. So they clearly, Nathan, are trying to chase their way back in. They're going to, it's a do or die effort, I would have to say. Although the good news for them is they're not trying to chase back into a 30 rider group. It's a little more even terms here. I certainly hope they can pull it off. Radford, again, the triathlete out of Sydney, Australia, South African, living in Sydney, Australia now, taking some big pulls along with, ATP Venom. This team is sensational.
Look at what's happening here with Coulson off the front. They're gonna force Stoll from Saris the Pros Closet to either just wait up for her teammates. That's what I would do at this point, actually. If I were Stoll,
I would too.
I'm not chasing this down. Let's just wait for our teammates and we'll bring
got a
it
long
back
way
with
to go.
Russell. There's a whole lot of landscape here. Coulson, is she really going to ride away from everybody for 450 watts all day long? I don't think that's going to happen. At least in my head, I'd be thinking, I got teammates behind. We got Rathwell, super strong rider, out of Canada. We've got Russell behind here as well. They've got a plan. Volvo's there. I think that they've got enough firepower here. Easler's there as well that they could just kind of slow the roll, allow things to come back together. Grossman's trying to get back on terms here, a little ways back, and there's plenty of landscape left to work with. And you can just let Coulson be off the front and waste as much energy as she wants to, is what I would be thinking in my head. But,
I would too.
ATP could have another plan. If they do catch here, they can, again, though, Stoll then just has the opportunity to sit in and get a free ride with a team time trial at the front of the pack then.
Well, listen, I mean, Nathan, if you're back in that chase group, right, and you're not on ATP Venom, when you look at this situation, again, it's not a huge group right behind her, but I would, if I was an experienced rider, I would say let her keep doing this for a little while. Why not just run this for a few K? Just try to take a little bit of edge off her sword here. And it's going to reset now. But wow, talk about, this is a uber selection that was made. Remembering, we have 34K of racing ahead of us. ATP Venom is absolutely putting on. I mean, they can move into team time trial mode. There's not many groups much larger than them. Annabella Stoll here, Desiree is, she might as well just sit on at this point. It's a pretty unique situation, Nathan.
This is where it gets dangerous,
dominant.
Dave.
I've never seen anything like
dangerous.
This.
Yeah, at this point with Price on the front now at 4.4 watts per kilogram, now that group behind needs to start thinking about their chase because they could just get into TTT mode and walk away with this one, and that would be 4 stacking the front. Stoll, it wouldn't even matter if she sprints for the line. Even if she takes the 40 points, it's not going to matter.
Doesn't at all, actually, because the most you can take away let's talk about structure, Nathan. 20 points is the maximum number of points. If you take first through sixth and win by 20 minutes, you still get 20 points. Second place team is going to get 19. So there's no point in when you look at it now, they're in such good situation. They could drag a rider with them and never have her take a pull, talking about Annabella Stoll, and still win the race outright, and that's the name of the game. Excuse me. Not winning the race outright as far as putting the first individual rider over the line, but with so many team riders sitting in the top 5, it would be, you'll probably never see again a team take that many points in one race. So this is the 5th in an 8-race series. We've been alternating between time trials and this points or scratch race formula. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, Nathan. Can this group chase them back?
It's going out too. Look at this. This is really interesting. Finesse Wahoo, alongside of Saris the Pros Closet, are going to start having to think about what their plan is at this point. Cryogen, Gallopin, they do have one rider in there with Brady, it looks like. ATP, though, they're going to be sitting in a whole lot. There's going to be some frustration in this group that we're watching that's trying to make this chase at 16 seconds now. We are seeing now ATP. I'm going to point them out real quickly, and this is something we're trying to do a better job of for everybody. This is ATP Venom, as you can see. They're using the Power Tap kit in game. And then Finesse Wahoo, they're going to be in the blue Wahoo kit on the front here. ATP, interesting enough, are just following wheels toward the front, but never taking a pull. Or if they do take a pull, they're doing the thing you don't want to do in a TTT. They go to the front and then back right on off and bring the speed down. So
Yep.
this is going to be difficult if they continue to disrupt things. You got to
So-
be on the front and pulling through at high speeds, Dave.
Nathan, very well put. So what they are really is disruptors there. They're doing a good job of that. Now, the situation here is pretty simple. Finesse Wahoo and Saris the Pros Closet have got to start working together. They've got to completely commit to this chase, or and you know what? The reality of racing for second and third out here, as far as teams go, maybe that reality settles in very, very early today. You see, I mean, this group, yeah, they're working hard, actually. I mean, but the front group's working harder. The gap is out to 16 seconds now. Coulson, so, I mean, it's basically ATP Venom with one other rider there, Annabella Stoll Desaro, who's the Canadian who has won. She won a previous scratch race or points race that we had. This chase group, though, they're going to have to work harder than that if they want to bring them back.
Yeah, look at this here. Stoll sitting in, though. Good for her, making this lead group. And maybe can cause a little bit of mayhem in here and at least make them think twice about who they are dragging along and how much work they're putting in, because Stoll at this point can just sit in at 4, 0.5 minus, while the rest of them are working their their butts off to try and
Nathan,
hold off this group.
I saw this scenario one time before in my life with the entire Soviet team had Greg LeMond with them on a course called the Morgul Bismarck here in Colorado, part of the Coors Classic, right? So what was the technique? So ultimately that day, LeMond beat them in a big preem sprint that led up to the final. The Soviets ended up getting the better, but so imagine this, 4 of the best in the world with the young American here. So Annabella is going to play the role of Greg LeMond. What they did that was one after another. So Annabella's going to sit on she'll never take a pull, nor should she. There's no reason at all for her to go and put her nose in the wind. So the rider at the back of this 4-rider group of ATP Venom would sit up, take her off the back with her, let the 3 continue on, force Annabella to chase around, make a big effort, and as soon as Annabella catches those 3, they sit up, let their teammate rejoin, and you just repeat that process until you break her. Right? It's a sophisticated technique. It works every time if you execute it correctly. But it takes a lot of effort to get rid of one strong rider, because now at this point she's latched on. She's not doing any pulling. So let's just use a fair percentage. It's 25% less work, but that's of one of 4 riders. So as long as they keep rotating here, and again, Nathan, I don't even know if I waste my energy doing that, to tell you the truth. If I'm the director of ATP Venom, I say keep on as we are. Lieberman, Coulson, Price, and Santoyo, even if you get beat at the line, which I don't know that you would, to tell you the truth, because there's other ways to win this race as well. You start attacking out of this group and forcing her to chase. So there's about 15 different ways to Sunday to win this race if you're ATP Venom. As a matter of fact, it would be stunning to me if they don't win the outright race today here as well with the position that they're in. This one, it's not over. It's never over. That's for sure. And certainly your heart has to go out to the one rider working in a group of 4. But I mean, this also reminds you, if you've seen the movie Breaking Away, right? The Italians, all 4 Italians, and the one American. In this case, it's the Canadian up against ATP Venom, the top team in our series. And they have, I don't know. This is rubbing salt in the wound right now. They're just pouring it on, Nathan.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the situation here with the women, and I think it's a great call that you made there about just continuing on. Later, though, after the second climb, things are going to pan out a little bit differently. They might drop Stoll might drop them. You don't know what might happen on that second climb. Stoll gets a free ride until that second Queen of the Mountain. At that point,
she gets more dangerous. Yeah,
exactly. There's more danger than at that point. And then also there's the reality that they then can start attacking if they have enough wiggle room, if they have enough landscape, they have enough time between themselves and that chase group, then you can start playing games, because nothing's going to implode. You're close enough to the line that there's not enough, there's not enough pavement anymore to really have any threat. But we do see Saris the Pros Closet at 5 watts per kilogram, and Megan Rathwell, a little bit of frustration, and this is a very strong rider out of Canada. And I'd be watching out for her to maybe start taking this by the reins here and trying to bring something back together. Saris the Pros Closet do need to see some more organization. I am seeing a lot of disorganization, in my opinion, amongst this group right now. None of the teams are really working together to try and do anything about this.
and there's not many of them. Two of them are ATP Venom riders there in the gray, orange, and white kit, so they're not going to participate in the chase. It really, the responsibility of Finesse Wahoo and Saris, the pros closet, and I don't know that they have the most. Nathan, to be honest, I almost feel like this group, there goes Anna Russell now. She's got to be a little bit frustrated with the situation. Things kind of backfired on them early, so Anna Russell's going to try to lift the pace. This is the triathlete out of New Zealand moving up to the front for the Saris, the pros closet team. But at this point now, I mean, the gap has gone out. It's at 23 seconds and growing. So not only are they not whittling away at it, they're watching it slip through their fingers right now. Nathan, I think that the reality is, I'm not only talking today, I'm talking about in the series here. I have a feeling that ATP Venom is, they're now in another league, a league of their own, as we would say, as certainly your heart goes out to the Canadian Annabella here in the green jersey as she sits on. And maybe, maybe she does eke out an individual win, but this is a team series based on points. And at this point now, with 4 riders in the top 5, they're not only going to take the Lions share, they're going to take the Lions, the Bears, and the Tigers share of points. And now they're starting to put some pressure on. And this is going to be a tough moment. They're doing exactly what I said, Nathan. They're doing exactly what I said as they come to pick up those points. And now Annabella's going to have to work hard. Let's see if they even help bring her up. They don't want to. Man, I would almost sit up and force her to chase and just end that storyline too. I'm mean, though.
That's best here from Revo Whips, maybe giving a little bit of a kick. And I did see something earlier when Anna Russell was pulling through at 6 watts per kilogram, a good amount of speed on the front. And what I did notice also is that Grossman was back in amongst this group at that point. So perhaps the gap that was allowed to go out had something to do with allowing Christina Grossman and some more riders to get back involved here. So perhaps maybe now at this point we'll start seeing a little bit more work from the teams to try and make something happen. I mean, we do see Wahoo.
Not, though.
Finesse, though. We're seeing Saris now maybe getting more organized, but really it is the blue jerseys as well as the yellow and green that we're going to have to see the brunt of the work being taken up. And 3.9 in the front is just not going to do it. At 171, they might not be in the legs. 25 seconds, it continues to go out. I know I continue to seem hopeful. I want to see a race here. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I think that the race is already up the road.
Yeah, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, Nathan, wanting to be hopeful, but I think that ship sailed. To tell you the truth, they're not organizing a chase. We're getting to the midpoint of the race, and the 5 riders on the front right now, 4 of them they've got the bit between their teeth. They definitely are going to continue to soldier on. The gap. Go ahead.
Quick question then, though. Is this part of the tactic at this point? Have they thrown in the towel for a reason? Is it that Stoll, we've got one up, we're not going to chase our teammate down, and we think we can get the bulk of the points from this group? That's the other question. Or do they think they can maybe bridge something on the next climb? Maybe there's a 1-2 punch. We get somebody ahead. I don't know. I'm wondering if, and I'm not saying it has anything to do with the series overall. Maybe they're thinking we're second. We just got to worry about Finesse Wahoo chicks. Maybe that's the situation.
I think that's it. No, Nathan, so 100% agreeing there. What I'm saying is the reality is you're not going to win this bike race. If you try too hard to win it, you're going to lose second. Or you find yourself in a position where you don't get, and being second is so much better than third. It's not even funny. Second and third are night and day.
I think I'm going to say, though, Dave, is I have a feeling there's a couple women listening to the broadcast that want to make you eat your words a little bit. So we'll see you might be the motivation. You might be the motivation for these women out here to say, all right, we're going to show Dave what the heck we got here.
So I don't know who that would be, because if they want to chase this back, they've let it go out to, let's see what that gap looks like. That's 24 seconds.
And that's over Anna's classic 15 to 20, right? She usually calls that at that moment a lot of times where you don't want it to go much further than that, right?
100%. And yeah, that's way past the threshold of acceptability. And so, and the numbers that are being put up from that front group are substantially better than what we're seeing from anyone in the chase. And there's no organized chase. I mean, it's not an ideal situation. If Cryo is the team on the front right now, this is not an organized chase. Just saying.
100%. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Real quickly, we did miss, apologies on this, but we did miss the climb over the top for the first men. The men did jump out on course just now. Well, not just now, but a few minutes ago. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at where things are at with the men. The initial kicks have happened. and they have made their way over the top of the first climb, and we do have a breakaway situation already as formed here. Let's take a quick look at the current sprint standings the preem standings for the men. It does look like Jordan Shane is out here today. Good to see. And it does look like he took things down, followed up by New Heights, and then Nick, third, it looks like, followed up by Kevin Bouchard Hall, and then Justin Purificati. Good to see the ODZ rider there, making himself known toward the front here. Chris from ATP, as well as a few others, Jake Campbell. It looks like Polo Velo from St. Pierre for Rulos Polo Velo. Saunders, down a look there on the chase there. This group, I think, will bring things back. 6 seconds back, then also some dirt riders here. It looks like CCNS is in here as well. So three groups here, all within about 10 seconds of each other, Dave.
Yeah, boy, look at what the damage being done here. It's interesting to see Jordan Shane picking up top points there. He's had some success. He goes all the way back, and we've noted this before. Really, he would have been 15 years old, maybe 16 years old when Zwift Beta came out. He was one of the first people that jumped on it. He's up in Vancouver, Canada, races with the Elevate team on the road. Here he's with the Finesse Wahoo squad, and he's a great addition for them. And then nice to see Kevin Bouchard Hall out there as well, a former professional rider with a really great sense of humor. I'm a big fan of what Kevin Bouchard Hall is all about, and he's got always an interesting take on what's going on in the world of esports. And here we go. So that's a 20 rider group that we've got on the front. Jordan Shane setting a tempo out here. That blue kit we're going to see quite a bit. Jane, a talented climber. Look how many Canadian flags are up on the front of the bike race right now. Boersma, Wessinger, and these are representing 3 different teams. We identified the Royal City last week. That was a big step forward for us in our geography lessons, Nathan.
Yeah, and I believe that Jordan was recently announced, if I'm not incorrect, for World Championships.
You're correct. I want to say you're right. Yep.
Yeah, so good for him. And obviously getting some fitness here if he's taking that top spot over the top of the climb there. Very much on the aggression. He does have, it looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders with him from that Wahoo Finesse team. So they're definitely well represented here at the front. Let's take a quick look here at the current standings. For the men. Really well
represented, Nathan. That's a nice catch there. I mean, if you want to look at I know you're going to bring up that the standings, but Wahoo has got 5 guys in a group of less than 20. Don't do too much better than that. Well, I guess ATP Venom would argue, right? They like to put
look at it all coming
in
together though here
5.
behind.
Yeah.
Interesting to see, and we could see a situation like we saw in the European West, where the Plastic Cockneys ended up with a much calmer race for themselves. They played it quiet, they played it cool, and at the end ended up with 3 riders in that top 10 and ended up with the top points most likely. So I was told that some of those points are up and ready to go. So if you do want to go check out results, I believe you can head over to WTRL and check those out at this point. But some of the riders that just found themselves back in this front group, who maybe didn't throw down everything to grab those points like we saw from Shane, they may have a lot left in the tank later on to challenge and make the final top 5, which is what it's all about when it comes to a team here in the WTRL ZRL.
It's interesting when you look at it, how when you're on a good day, you're on a good day. And there's some riders that seem to be able to show no ceiling on their ability out here. And I'd have to say that Jordan Shane is a really interesting rider. This group won't be this large by the time we head into the last kilometer of racing, that's for sure. It's an interesting finish out here, Nathan. In no way would you call this a sprinter's course. I guess it's really the best sprinter and savvy riders really seem to shine in that finale as well. Having that experience makes a massive difference, as we're in with Saunders of the ATP team right now. And they did merge those 2 groups together, Nathan. So one big front group. This Everything Bagel course has been just demolished fields out here today.
It absolutely had. This course is no joke. We've seen a lot of people very similar attitudes toward this course as you see toward Richmond. But it's interesting enough on the Richmond course. I don't see quite as much of oh my good. And I think it's because how long the climb is matched with how steep the climb is. I think you put those two together and people just tend to get a little bit more pressure than you get on the Richmond quick kicks.
And the thing about Richmond is you have a good 10K before you hit the bottom of Libby. Here, the climbing starts like 3.5K in, something like that. I mean, it comes at you.
Matchlet here, I think, underneath ATP, because look behind them here, Dave.
Boy, that is shocking to tell you. Well, this is a little deceptive because even though the distance isn't much, you're going up an 8% grade. So the time sits, but you're right, Nathan. They've halved that gap here.
Ratho needs to cross with a couple right now. The moment that it gets flat here, they need to jump a little bit and get the speed as high as possible. They could get across if they don't give that sigh when you stop climbing that, okay, no, you need to jump as soon as it flattens out and get some speed going. Colson at 4.5. If they continue on at 5 or 6 here over the top, 3 or 4 could go and get across. And that would be perfect for Sars, the Pros Cloud, and Wahoo at this point.
It would be quite incredible, to tell you the truth, because, if that were to happen, first off, I would be stunned. We've seen this earlier today, Nathan, where the chase group gets it down to, let's say, this mark. It was even closer earlier,
same
right?
Spot. Yeah.
And they did not make the catch ultimately. So this is going to take an unbelievable willpower. But now you can see how this is two Saris, two Wahoo finesse. One of the ATP riders is going to be sitting on. Boy, they're going to give it everything they got. This is going to be incredible if they can make that catch, Nathan. I'll have to eat my hat. That's for sure. I did not see this happening. It hasn't happened yet, but boy, they certainly didn't lie down.
Still a lot of work cut out for them to make it happen here. Still a lot of work cut out for them. They've got the numbers to do it, though. Revo need to pull on through. Now, they need to jump right here. They do not need to just look at this and stay steady. It has to be on the 11%. You make the time up now, and that's exactly what we're seeing here from Monks. Monks, give it a go. 7 watts per kilogram here now. Despo's trying to get back on. Anna's going with it as well. Now, they're going to be heading into a climb pretty quickly here, so they might burn a lot of matches trying to get back on terms. But if they do get back on terms with enough time, there'll be they came back, and everyone's going to start looking at each other. But they got to close now. Anna looks like she's really struggling at 173. She's got Rathwell coming over the top now. She's going to help out a little bit. This may be happening. We do see hope here at this point for this to happen. This chase group might be able to, but Vanessa's almost kind of kicking herself a little bit here, as you can see, without giving any kind of reprieve to the other riders. But now back out to 10. Lieberman, I mean, the cool thing for ATP is they can just set something comfortable and say, well, work harder than us. Burn your matches. Go ahead.
Well, and this is the beauty of, they call it la course en tête, racing from the front. It gives you that advantage, right? You can start to play with the psychology of the races behind you. And as you see them getting closer, have you ever watched a dog chasing a duck on the water, right? The duck will continually keep baiting that dog deeper and deeper and into the current until eventually the dog is so exhausted it just fades off and is never heard from again, at least for that duck anyways. And it's similar situation here where these ladies, they're able to ride at their own tempo. You can see how close it got, but it's going back out. It is starting to go back out again now for our front group. So it got down at one point to 9-8 seconds, but now we're seeing 12 up on the board. So boy, this is one heck of a bike race. And that's why it's never over until it's over. Even when you've got a front group that looks so dominant as ATP does here, with Annabella Stoll-Desoro, the one Canadian rider tagged on. She's done a great job, Nathan, of doing as little as possible and staying with this group of heavy hitters. Price, Lieberman, Santoyo, and company. Looks like we're going to jump back in with the men here. A little bit larger group. Different. Shows you how every race has its own story.
100%. And the reason we're jumping in here is we're about to get into the second sprint section with the preems, and we do have a little bit of an aero power-up being blasted there. Now, who's on the front? It is going to be ATP now taking a dig, but off the front, it's going to be, Bots there. Endurance Works on the attack. And 10, 11 watts per kilogram. Will he get the gap? No, we've got Freight Train coming with Gracely, it looks like, as well as, I think that is going to be Gracely, actually. It's going to be able to hold on to this. WTRL trying to make something happen. Not going to happen. Gumbo from Wahoo Fitness can be taken third, it looks like, across the line. Chad Butts followed up by and Herd there for Cryo RDT. Bulu there for Wahoo Fitness. And right on the wheel, it's going to be Usborne. So those are the riders, but it was the top 5 off the front. That's a 4-second gap. Not something you usually see through here. And pressing on, 5 watts per kilogram. Are they going to back off? 9 watts per kilogram coming from a rider here. They may split this a little bit. They need another split, though, to make this happen. They need a couple more riders to go into orange to really... And you need a little bit of malice almost amongst some of the riders that kind. No, you do. Like
I agree.
You need riders who are like, well, you want my wheel? No, orange numbers. Oh, you want my wheel? No, orange numbers. And you get some speed coming from the back, and that's how you split it. But it looks like it's going to come back together. A couple of riders falling off, maybe caught off guard, but it looks like it's going to come back together.
Yeah, Nathan, I'm not completely, racing with emotion, right? That's a big part of this. You have to want it more than the other guy or the other woman. And right now, here's a big difference between these two races. This group is huge. At this point in the race, we're really coming up on the midpoint for the men. It's 34 total kilometers today out here in the New York World. The women's race is much more dynamic as far as the groups are smaller. Yeah, there's really no one you can look around to get much help out there. And, every step matters out here. These guys have a little bit more wiggle room as we're looking at the front group here. And that's a fair question, Stephen. When we jump back in, I wonder if Stephen is cheering for Rachel Lieberman. I'm going to guess that might be the case. Either way, we have two races going concurrently here as we move back and forth. And Nathan is back in. So let's say we're at 10K to go. Stephen,
10K,
Nathan,
right about
you agree
10K.
with me? Yep.
Yeah, it's right about 10K. You got the Queen of the Mountain climb, a sprint at the bottom of the descent, essentially, like almost immediately afterwards. And then you've got a little bit of a roundabout with about 5K to go from there. And then the finish line with a 1% uphill gradient toward that finish line with the downhill sprint. So that's what's left to go here. With 25 seconds, they've really gone out at this point. There was those kicks, but I think they had to rest after those kicks a little bit. It was just a little bit too much. And as you said, racing from the front, something about racing out on Zwift, when you do get that gap, I have noticed that if you just set it at your FTP and you are the stronger rider, you give kicks when you need to for speed. But other than that, it actually really plays to your advantage because the other riders have to go so deep to try and bring things back together.
They get no draft. And they get no draft off of you, right? I mean, that's just huge. So only, let's say 10K of racing, but there's plenty to work with out here. I think one of the storylines that we should watch will be this, Nathan, how they're going to start working over Annabella here, the rider in green. It's not an ideal situation, obviously. When you're going up against a professional outfit, any team that I was on back in the day, Nathan, if we ever had a situation where we had 4 against 1 and you didn't win that race, you would not want to show up back at the team van afterwards. You might as well just ride your bike straight home because there was going to be some very harsh words for you. This is something that professionals need to. Good for her, huh? Look at this, Annabella moving up to the front.
So proud of my daughter. Great to see from Steve Lieberman. Loving the little chat coming on
nice,
through.
Steven.
But yeah, loving it, and loving having all of the family hanging out here on ZCL. So keep all the comments coming on in. But Colson here, the teammate of Lieberman, now they're in the dig, but Stoll covers it immediately, and that's where she wants to ride from, a second wheel, not third, fourth, or fifth wheel. At this point, it's all about covering the moves at the front so that she can jump on any wheel at any moment, because if you're at the back and there is a split, you got to cover the split. But if you're at the front, you can always grab every single wheel that is going to cause any splits. So you're in the middle of all that then. So she needs to be second or third wheel at all times, or else she could really burn a match she doesn't want to.
I agree, Nathan, and it's different than being on the velodrome or racing out of a real breakaway in real life, because the attacks, when they come from behind you, you can't usually hear much, and you certainly can't see anything until they're already by you, and then it's too late to get the wheel. So one of the beautiful things about e-racing is you have a little bit better feel for what's coming at you. So this ATP Venom team, we were talking about Rachel Lieberman here. She's such a strong rider. Her teammate, Jen Santoyo, out of Seattle area, there's a real movement of world-class Zwifters coming out of the Pacific Northwest, that's for sure. Any one of these 4, Nathan, very easy to imagine winning the race, but it looks like Price is going to take her turn.
Wow,
I've heard you use the term. Yeah,
see that?
Wow.
The feathers being popped here? Sorry for
everybody throwing it
but
down.
They all 3 of them, which tells me that Price is the strongest climber amongst ATP if they're already using their feather power-ups to try and stay on terms with Stoll. But Price is kind of walking away a little bit. I was expecting feather power-ups much later. So interesting to see Price breaking things apart. They might go 1-2 off the front here. Stoll can close this down, but she's going to have to kick solid 7 or 8 here, I think, to close it down over this last kick to the top.
Pretty strong for Annabella, I have to say. If she ends up, this could backfire on you. Well, so again, Nathan, I want to be clear here because the name of the game is taking 20 points away today for your team. So winning this race is not required to do that. Just like you can win the Tour de France without winning a stage, you can win this race today without winning, without your rider being first over the line. But that being said, bike racers will be bike racers, and they're always going to want to win. But if you're Annabella, this is a much better situation now. The rider in green is down to one rider to worry about, and she just closed down that gap on Price here. So Jennifer Price is now doesn't have her teammates to help. She still hasn't closed down that gap completely, however. Nathan, this is a compelling story.
Now. I think she's the lighter rider too, so I have a feeling perhaps, I'm not positive about that though, I may be incorrect though.
That Stoll is lighter than
maybe not. I'm looking at the watts per kilogram here, and maybe not actually. So she'll descend faster though.
So Jennifer Price is 73 kilo, and that's what I have her on Zwift. Or I'm not going to mention where I found that. But 73 kilo. And then for Anna.
Stoll is definitely the lighter rider. So that's why I was concerned about being the lighter rider. It's going to be difficult to close it down. She had to bring it back right now, and she does do that. So good on her.
60.
To make that happen there. Yeah. So looking through Annabella Stoll, level 20, a newer racer to the world of Zwift racing. That's why she is on that Canyon. Again, we were talking about that earlier. The cheapest setup on drops that you can get is the new Canyon that did get released as far as the fastest bike for not that much drops. 12 seconds now. We do have that 1-2 we were talking about. I was not actually expecting it to work out this way. I didn't think it was going to stick, but it has. And now it's 3 ATP. Are they going to chase is the question. It doesn't really matter, I think, for Price, whether or not they chase or ATP. The only thing would be whether or not they allow Finesse and the rest to come back off the back here.
I have one of the best bio lines, Nathan, that I have ever heard in my life. So Jennifer Price, in her bio, notes that she's proud, feeling very strong thanks to muscle memory in her life and her enhanced ability to suffer thanks to childbirth and ex-husbands.
Oh, God.
I think that is absolutely hysterical. That's the kind of rider I want on my team. A great sense of humor as we're looking at our two leaders right now here, Nathan. And they very well could be riding away with this race. So we can really look at this two ways. Obviously, ATP Venom is having an incredible day, and it looks like they're going to continue to pile on more points here. But this is going to be such a fun battle here as the women are down to about 6K of racing. These two are your leaders. Stoll, the Canadian, has done an incredible job here of keeping her head above water. And now, Nathan, she went what looked like a pretty negative situation, being one rider against four teammates, to it's a one-on-one battle right now. Give her credit.
It is a one-on-one battle, and 10 seconds back here. She does not want the rest of these riders to come back because that could be 40 points to the team total overall. And depending on where the rest of the Stars to Pros class ends up, at Price here on the attack again, showing she knows how to suffer here. 452 watts right now. And Stoll trying to come back. Not sure that's going to be happening, though. 6.7 coming from Stoll. Stoll seems to have this extra gear all the time. So good to see the Canadian here. And I did see in the profile picture Red Truck Beer, which tells me perhaps Red Truck Racing is in her background or a part of some of the clubs that she's a part of, which would be pretty telling as to why she's such a strong rider, because that is quite the outfit out of Canada.
Well, Nathan, very comparable to Elevate when we were talking about Jordan Shane in the men's race. That's one of Canada's very strong, respected road teams coming out of British Columbia. So, and look at that. She's just right back there. So she's tenacious. There's no doubt about it. So Jennifer Price in the gray and orange here, sitting on the wheel of Annabella Stoll.
Not a whole lot of racing left to go. We said it was about 5K to the line from that second sprint point, or that sprint point immediately after the downhill. So not a whole lot of racing left to go. ATP will sweep the rest of the points. They're only 6 seconds back at this point. They're actually waiting up to make sure they can work together on this. Stoll now maybe not wanting to get caught heading to the front. Now, teammates of ATP in the men's race were actually attacking into the Rainbow Road, that I like to call it. little bit of a throwback to the Mario Kart that we have out here. And Heights here trying to chase things down for Dirt Alert as they make their way back toward their King of the Mountain climb. 21.5 kilometers finished so far and 28 minutes in. So the boys here, they've got about 12 and a half K to go. Usborne from Finesse going to shut this down for ATP. Jordan here sitting steady here with, look at all these Finesse riders here. They're the team to beat out here today. Heights there for the Dirt Alert team there, making his way to the front. Always watch out for Heights. New Heights is so strong a rider, wow. As well as HDFU is out there as well. So, rule number 5, making the way to the front too.
Nathan, interesting when you dig in a little bit. Their 15-second power is almost identical when you look at it, right in that mid-9s. So if we do send these two to the line together, it's going to be really interesting. But it looks like we might have a whole new situation. She did try.
But now she's got, because she saw the 3 coming. I think that's why. Now Lieberman over the top, maybe, Dave?
It sure is, and that's it. Now, this is going to be really the big test for Stoll because she's really put herself out there. That's what you certainly would call punching above your weight. She shows incredible resiliency here. So I don't know if she's going to win the bike race or not, and she has won already, Nathan, but she certainly is my rider of the day. Collectively, obviously, ATP Venom has been phenomenal, but what we are seeing here from Stoll has been sensational. Absolutely. She's got the heart of a lion, the heart of a polar bear coming from Canada there. But now this is where ATP Venom is going to, I would imagine, start executing a game plan. Nathan, as you come now, it's hard to believe it's actually back together as 5. They're not going to get caught. That gap is basically 1 minute now. So this is the bike race right here. No doubt ATP Venom wins the team award. And certainly I know a lot of folks out there are going to be cheering for Stoll, but the reality of what 4 smooth operators can do is going to be very interesting, Nathan. So I would imagine you start attacking in turn here.
So real quickly here, I do want to jump into chat with Zieg FPV and let him know. And this is a great question, though, because if we are featured on YouTube gaming in any way whatsoever, or on Twitch or Facebook gaming, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to come in and be like, what is going on here? Why are we watching Avatar cycle? Are they using controllers? You just push a button and go faster? How does that work? No, these are all actual real people on real bikes pedaling away right now in order to power these avatars. You can see in the upper left-hand corner the current heart rates. They essentially put their bike onto a trainer, a turbo trainer that hooks up, or they can also use a stationary bike that produces, power, watt bike or something along those ways. ANT Plus or Bluetooth signal goes out with the power coming out of their pedals, and they then power these avatars forward. And right now we have the Zwift Racing League, which is an official league that was launched in conjunction with WTRL.racing in order to have this community racing to find the fastest of the fastest from every zone and division in the world of Zwift. I believe we have over 6,000 racers, if I'm not incorrect at this point, Dave, that have jumped into here. Almost 1,000, over 1,000 teams, I believe. So this has been an amazing launch of the Zwift Racing League. The game is going on 5 years old since it did launch in beta back in 2014, late 2014, early 2015. So if you want to check it out, go on over to Zwift.com there, Zieg FPV, anybody else that is asking that question. It is a great question because it is definitely a new technology. It's your next level of Fitbit, essentially, with a virtual world. World of Warcraft meets real-life sports.
Yeah. Well put, Nathan. And so, yeah, I would have to agree that when you look at it, that this is a game. It's a Machiavellian chess match at 30 miles per hour right now, with a little bit of a bar fight thrown in because they're trying to throw Annabella Stoll out the back door here. It's a really unique situation, folks, as we're picking up now the finale of the America's East women's race. One team, the best team in the league here, as we are in our 5th race of 8 in this series. The ZRL is the pinnacle of racing in esports right now, and this is going to be Rachel Lieberman and her team, ATP ATP Venom trying to crack the code. Now, the points will all add up definitely in ATP Venom's favor, but they don't want to leave a crumb on the table. And Nathan, if they want to put a cherry on top of the sundae here, they're going to want to win this race outright as well. It's certainly, they have that responsibility with 4 riders and a 5-rider break and that outlier there in the green jersey. I know a lot of people are going to be pulling for the Canadian here. This is going to be really interesting to see what she can do. She knows what's coming. I would highly recommend that you buckle up. Welcome to downtown Payne City, folks. Is this one that we're looking at the chase and jumping around here? And there you go. All right, Nathan, we should be just a little over 1 kilometer of racing remaining now.
Little over 1K to go. I do want to just really quickly, everybody, I'm going to cut away for just a moment. We're going to come right back to this. We will get some replays of what's happening on the men's side of things, but Jordan Shane is on absolute, I mean, he is a full-on haymaker. He's got the entirety of the pack on the ropes here at this point. He went at 8, then 9, then I saw 10 watts per kilogram, and the rest of Finesse Wahoo went with him. He's got 3 teammates on his wheel at this point, and they're about to get into the flatter sections of the climb. 17% gradient. Griffin over the top, though, it looks like, as well as Blue. This is a serious move. Kevin Bouchard Hall is trying to come over the top. It looks like Dirtler there as well. This is a moment of truth for the men's race. Let's jump back in with the women, though. We'll get some replays of this. I'm recording it all, everybody, but back in with the women, because ATP is now giving it a go with Coulson trying to break Stoll here, as well as the rest of her teammates, though, jumping back on. Interesting enough to see. Keeping the speeds high. Maybe just trying to keep her on the back foot.
Oh, man. I tell you what, Nathan, I am really concerned. If you're ATP Venom, again, you have kept around a very dangerous rider. And I tell you, it's like cornering a Wolverine here, Nathan, because once she realizes that she's got a shot at the win, this could go down as one of the best individual wins that we've seen in the Zwift Racing League so far. So Annabella Stoll is the rider in the green jersey. She's trying to keep herself well positioned in this group. The gallop is going to start any moment. This finish comes up on you very, very quickly here. They're waiting. We're waiting. We're keeping the powder dry. Nathan, I don't know that ATP has played their cards correctly here. And get ready. They're just about to light a rocket. So again, this is it. We're locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is back in Central Park. The Everything Bagel certainly doesn't disappoint. And now we start to ratchet it up. That click, click, click. Well, here we go. This is a ticking time bomb, Nathan, that we're looking at here.
Yeah, we do see Stoll trying to make something happen. She's sitting second wheel. She's perfectly. Oh, she's got an arrow power up. Stoll has an arrow power up. 9 watts per kilogram, and she went perfectly, it looks like, because they waited too long. They waited way too long. Here comes Lieberman. It's right to the line. She made it happen. Stoll, Annabelle Stoll. What a move. And they slept on it, Dave. They absolutely slept on it. As Stoll, they were not expecting the arrow power up either. What a move. Annabelle Stoll beats the entirety of the field. Oh, my goodness. Good racing.
That is
good
the
racing.
Classic. Yeah, that was awesome. So, again, I don't want to sell ATP Venom short because, Nathan, they win the day by a long shot here. Putting 4 riders in the top 5. Absolutely, they'll take the top of the table, and they will remain our top team. But Annabella Stoll, that was what it's all about. And I know the men are not that far out. We got a similar situation going on here, Nathan. The Wahoo team, Wahoo Finesse here, really throwing some more coal on the fire.
Looking for 6th place
That's
Monks.
A sprint point.
Yeah, and this is important for Cyrus because Cyrus did take over the win here, but Russell needs to come over the top to make some more points for them because ATP has put themselves between Cyrus so well here with so many bodies, and it's going to be Finesse Wahoo chicks here with Monks able to take it out as Russell tries to come across. Not going to happen, and Nips, those points matter. For Russell, though, against ATP, Radford right there. Rathwell there comes across the line there, a little ways back. A lot of teammates here, but not quite where they needed to be. Didn't have the kick I think they needed to grab enough points there to take the win on the day, most likely. I think ATP walked away with this one. Still Cyrus with a good ride, but there's a reason why they're in second, and ATP is currently in first in the series overall.
Well, that was one heck of an interesting bike race, that's for sure. Boy, you got a lot to unpack with that women's race. We're going to go back in. Not all that dissimilar here is Finesse Wahoo here. Jordan Shane and company have got 3 riders in. That's going to be an ATP kit that we're looking at. Let's see who else we've got, Nathan, with us here as we start doing some inventory. This might be starting to look like this is the winning move out here, as these guys are not that far out from the finish. Let's use 6K from this point now in this sprint. They're going to take a lot of points now, again, scoring 5 deep on these bonus sprints. This is the last one before
Wahoo
the
didn't look
finish
interested
now.
in that. Did you see
Kevin,
that? They didn't look like they were like, well,
no.
whatever, go ahead.
You know what? Yeah. I guess, Kevin Bouchard Hall picks up the bonus points there. So KBH riding in the front group. Nathan, I saw him tweeting earlier today. Kevin Bouchard Hall is racing on less than 3 hours of training a week. That's just unbelievable. But I guess that when you got it, you got it. He's got pro DNA in his body. Both Kevin and his brother were professional bike racers, and that's going to be the ATP rider. KBH, Kevin Bouchard Hall here. Jordan Shane, the Canadian, in the blue jersey. Well, I guess, boy, pretty amazing, wasn't it, to see Stoll taking the win there out of a 5-rider group that included 4 teammates. We're going back and watching the move that made the race at this point. A replay here.
Yeah, and this was what made the race here. Jordan Shane with that attack there up and over the top. There was Wahoo Finesse. They made a solid move and really distanced themselves. That's how we got into the situation that we were talking about earlier. And as far as the points go over the top here, let's take a quick little look at it. And this is the situation from this replay. Jordan's new heights, 10. Matt's at 10. Kevin's taking some points there, though, too. Matt Yearsburn, and it's going to be Greg Blue. Look at Finesse, though, really dominating so far for the points totals. And I think this is the reason why they weren't that interested just now, is because they have been walking away with it, and they can just kind of, with 3 in that front group now at this point, they've just got enough points that they can just get across the line with enough in the top 5.
Yeah, they're better off keeping this break away, right? And just sort of, letting those guys have some points, because those points get added into the points that are waiting at the finish line. And then we'll take each team and collect their points and look at who has the most. And then we'll start breaking that down 20, 19, 18 on down for the top teams on the day. So this is the 5th race in an 8-race series. And I think we're picking up live action. Yep, going back in, because they're not all that far from the finish. We could even say just a little
4K?
over 4K now.
4K-ish,
and
yeah.
Nathan, you look at that gap at 20 seconds. I think they're pretty comfortable that they don't need to keep the accelerator buried here. They just need to keep rolling through. They should be able to get to the line and pick up the top 6. Is it 6 guys here? Yeah, 6 place points.
Jordan on the attack. He's got a gap here, and he's got 2 Wahoo Finesse riders behind that are not going to chase. Look at him sit at 2.9. Good teammates that they are. None that's going to be height here saying, okay, a little bit of move. They're going to let Jordan get some wiggle room, and you let Jordan get wiggle room. Now, Jordan backs off, and he understands the game. Look, about speed, 51 kilometers per hour. Watch him bump now. Right up into – now, if he wants to stay away, there it is, 5.6, 5.7. And just continues on with something that's going to, and now the meme team says, okay, you're going to let Jordan go, then I'm going to go across. And then it's going to get covered by Finesse Wahoo very quickly. They might come over the top, but they're not going to try and pull. They're just going to shut that down as Jordan does get caught.
Yeah, this is a little bit of the preamble here, a little bit of sword play before we get into the real fight now, because that was a test attack from Jordan Shane. He did not go all in, but this might be a problem here, as it looks like Heights is going to make another run at it. The Dirt Alert rider doesn't want to wait around.
Right? You got that seesaw effect where it's like back and forth a little bit, that churning, which can keep the speed high, and you can really launch off of that.
Yeah, and you can see same thing again, right? It's just coming over the top here, but it looks like it's going to be hard to escape out of this group at this point.
Almost like a well-designed TTT if you keep it up, actually.
Yeah, that's about how you want to do it, I would say. Good point.
And they back right on off, though. They see that nobody's going to be going anywhere. We see 3.7 now. Jordan Shane toward the front there, 4.8. Kevin Bouchard Hall, 1.7. And now it's down to, they're still cruising along at 58 kilometers per hour. You can see how high the speed has gotten at that negative 1%. And this gives you an idea of how, when you take speed into a section, how long it stays for it, just a steady wattage, actually. So big shout out to that for anybody who's trying to learn how to Zwift race. Roller coaster matters. Speed and momentum, it's so incredibly important. And if you're trying to make breakaways happen, it's not just about the watts per kilogram. You can waste so much watts per kilogram thinking that is what is going to win races for you. You got to make sure that watts per kilogram equals speed through the right sections.
It's interesting because Jordan Shane and Kevin Bouchard Hall are really on different ends of the spectrum. Jordan Shane is, I'm going to guess, 22, 23 years old. And on the other end there, Kevin Bouchard Hall, a father, a very experienced Zwifter and professional racer. It's going to be interesting. We talked about that one. The Tron bike, I think we pretty much determined it was the best for today's course. That was, as we discussed in some previous races.
Nathan's got a different
yeah,
opinion.
Okay.
But okay. So the Tron bike
it's
the best
negligible, right?
The best overall bike for if you were looking at a flat out wattage on the day in order to get the best out of a bike at all sections of the course. If you are looking to break everyone on the climb and you're assuming that you're going to be able to be the best rider on the climbing sections, I would still bring a Trek Madone with Mellensteins. That's me. I might be wrong. I'm just saying what I know to be the best climbing bike. If I were thinking about, taking the flats or the sprints or walking away on this section, of course, I would show up with the specialized Venge with the 858s. But if you're looking for a bike that's going to get you through the entirety of the course at the fastest time you possibly can with the most all around for this, because the way this course functions, super huge climbs, you've got a lot of rolling sections, there's a lot of flat, there's a lot of climbing. Yes, the Tron is the best all around then for just a flat out wattage. So it depends on where you want to excel and what kind of rider you are for what your bike choice is, in my opinion.
All right, well, here we go. This is going to be interesting. The chase is on as Usborne has been in the bank. He's got the money, and now he's in the getaway car, hightailing his way around Central Park, New York City. And Nathan, let's watch closely. 6 seconds is a massive gap. All things considered, gone. I think they've left this late. There's certainly his teammates won't be chasing. They sprung the top.
Look at this.
Absolutely. This one is going to be Usborne's race to lose. Heights is going to lead the chase, but he's not getting anywhere right now. They're not going to chase
this. Do you know why they're not going to chase this? Because they're just dragging Wahoo up. So, I mean, Usborne's just won this thing, in my opinion, because no one else is going to care.
Now, this is what I thought we'd see from ATP Venom, to tell you the truth, right? But they just could not shake Stoll out there. But this is the advantage of having 3 riders in a 6-rider move. You attack with different riders. And again, I think they cracked the code on that one. Nathan, you're 100% right. You don't want to drag his teammates up to him because you know you have another attack. And you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And remembering now that this is going to be all about points here. So obviously, Finesse Wahoo is going to have an incredible day. They're going to take first, possibly second and third here because, well, let's see what happens for the finale, but it's definitely going to be a sprint behind this man. This is your gold standard. This will be your champion. The finish line is there. This is done and dusted for America's East. Wow, what a ride. Finesse Wahoo gets Usborne over the line. It's going to go 1-2 for the boys in blue, Nathan.
Yeah, and their climber, Jordan Shane, strong rider, but obviously he's put his work in for the points, so he's going to end up off the back. Heights fading then. Here comes Chad Butts there, and no, it's going to be more Finesse Wahoo. There they come. The Finesse Joe Carroll. Amazing kick here from Carroll. We also got Yankins. Tenselhoff is there as well. Alex, I mean, this is what I was talking about with Finesse Wahoo. Got to absolutely love them. They are just show up and put the work in.
Nathan, they put 6 riders in the top 10 by my rough estimate here. 6 of the top 10. That's the entire team made the top 10 today. I might be wrong, but it's going to be very close to that. That is absolutely mind-blowing here. Whether it's the ride from Kirkmeyer or the collective performance from ATP Venom in the women's race or what we just saw from Finesse Wahoo, we're seeing some dominating performances here in round 5 of the Zwift Racing League. Community Day is my favorite day. Just does not disappoint.
Looking to see if we can find a few of the racers from the women's side of things for the C category. We'll be taking a look at the results here in just a moment as they do come in. They are all getting updated after the race here. I do believe the C/B category has come across the line already because I'm not getting any of the riders still out on course when I do a search for them. So we'll see if we can find some of the B category riders then for the men's races. They do come across the line. If you are looking for the broadcast, though, also for the America's West, make sure to go and check out. That is scheduled here on the YouTube as well as on our Facebook. We'll obviously be live on our Twitch channel as well as Periscope. So make sure to stick around for that. Go and check out and hit those reminder buttons for those. Let's see if we can go ahead and know. I'd always like to make sure that we do what we can to cover all of the categories we can on the day. Just need to be able to make sure that we find them out on course. Their bees should be coming in just a moment here, and see if we can jump in. Yeah, it's gonna be a difficult day. It looks like try and find them. Not always the easiest. Jason Mulcher's out there though, I believe. And
I hear our friend Aaron. The drama llamas, right? That superstar team in the seas, Nathan.
Yeah. What's going on with Aaron? Is she being bossy?
Well, I heard she's still racing. Well, I heard there's apparently some screaming coming from the pain cave. So I think that's our man Steve Beckett out
What's
there.
What's he doing out there? What is going on? He's cyclocrossing, it looks like, too. It looks like there's a couple of riders out there taking some...
you guys in the field
there, yeah. But this is the situation at the front. It looks like 6 seconds here for Baumgartner. Red P coming out of the USA.
Oh, boy.
Hardley's there.
This is going to be fun.
Thomas. Yeah, interesting little sprint we're opening up here.
So you see 33.3. So that means they're a little over a K to go at this point. 6 seconds for the Red P rider, Baumgartner. I'm jumping over in Zwift Power in my secret source. Sorry, Martin. I'm not going to ever reveal how I do that. As we take a look at what 6 seconds looks like, Nathan, I wouldn't feel super comfortable. There's some hungry wolves nipping at his tail here.
Very different situation too, right, than what we saw in the last sprint.
Right.
He was off the front pushing 5 watts per kilogram without a lot of motivation behind. These boys look as motivated as could be coming on at 46.
Yeah, they're coming for you.
Oh, yeah. And this at 46 and 46 matched at only 3 seconds. We're about to see quite the sprint coming up from that group right about now.
Speaks to experience, Nathan. All of these B guys have their Tron bike as well. We were talking about, it's nearly 50,000 meters of climbing that you need to do, Everesting, as they say, to get that bike. So there's nobody in this B category that hasn't spent their time out there on the Zwift platform. And these guys now are going to use that to their best. Some power-ups being thrown here. There's a drafting power-up now. That's going to be well played. That makes a big difference as Hardley looks like he's going to be the first rider. Well, maybe not. I was going to say first rider to make contact, but they're going to come up over the top, and here you go. It's an old school fury. From here on in is now already they can smell the finish line, and it's going to be Keffer first to make the catch and coming over the top, Nathan. Here we go. Throttle all the way open now.
Yeah, and it's going to be going, it looks like. ODZ now trying to make something happen. No, ODZ's not going to be able to hang on to the front. It's Owens. Owens right to the line. Not going to happen. Ooh. Nipped there by Gorham from BMTR. Solid kicks there all around, but not able to hold on as they come across. So see if we can move backwards again a little bit here. And as we get a little help from our buddy Jason Mulcher from the Dirt team, Dirty Diesels, making the way to the front. I want to see how Steve Beckett goes here from the ZHQ Rockets right now, as he's sitting about 36th place.
Such a strong team.
Those
Rockets, Nathan.
In. Yeah, a couple of sprints happening up front here. And look this is like mayhem, though, for this top 30. As we've got Dirty Watts with Bobby G trying to come across to the B White Vision rider. OTR on the rivet now. D Larson Oostrain unable to hold on as Bobby G. I think he's going to get him. Nice little kick right at the line. It's happening there. Now we move our way backwards, and some of these sprints opening up. Gary Delport, good to see Delport's out there. This is a long time viewer trying to hold on to Beckett's wheel. Is Beckett going to come across? Not going to be happening as he gets dropped. Looks like by A. Lee, and it's going to be the Beard, I think it is, there across the line. Solid ride there by Steve Beckett, though. Good to see that Zwift are a part of the platform like that. Taking it, getting, that's, talk about being fully involved. Doing the TTT on Thursdays, and then as well getting involved in the Zwift Racing League, fully engrossed in the platform, racing amongst the riders. It's always great to see. It's the same thing that I love to see when you see the devs and in the other game, really a part of it, really getting involved. Well, I don't know how much World of Warcraft you're playing at night, Dave, or Apex.
I'm trying to
or
bare
Overwatch.
minimum. I'm keeping it to
trying to keep the World of Warcraft to the bare minimum. Get not too much, not too many red eyes. Raiding late at night. Hey there, Dave. Yeah, gotcha.
No, but you know what? I want to follow up on your point as we see some more finishes here, Nathan. It is so
funny,
cool
Dave,
to me.
Hold on, wait, Dave. Wait, hold on. I gotta say one thing. 5 years ago when I was racing my mountain bike, still at a pro level, I never would have thought I'd be talking to Dave Towle about playing World of Warcraft late at night about what's going on anyways. I mean, what an interesting intersection that we found here, I would say.
I can't tell you how much I enjoy this experience. And I think that speaks to, this is a lot of fun. But Nathan, you helped motivate me to actually start Zwifting, right? I really felt like until you are doing this, you can't relate to the riders. And I certainly would never Zwift at that level. But same thing with the Zwift headquarter riders. Seeing them out there Zwifting and having fun racing, it brings so much validity to the platform. They love it as much as you do. They've been doing that team time trial or WTRL team time trial for a lot. There's multiple Zwift teams. So the Rockets, the Rebels, and I'm sure there's a new team being formed as we speak. So it's great. It really is. We saw some super interesting racing out here today. As a matter of fact, of all of the rounds of the ZRL that we've done, Nathan, come on, if you've been wagering on that one, who would have given Stoll much of a chance to win that race with 4 ATP Venom riders? And again, remembering, they do win big picture. They take the top points, 20 for the day. So nothing to be ashamed about with that effort. But Annabella Stoll showed us a tremendous amount of heart. What we saw, same thing from the Finesse Wahoo guys. They did a really excellent job of showing you how a top-notch team operates. So we're not done. Another race coming up. But this was a dandy.
Yeah, America's all done for the broadcast as far as the racing images go, but we got some results still. Let's go ahead and take a look at how things ended up playing out here on the women's side of things. The women's results here with Annabella Stoll, as you said there, Dave, it was only 6/100ths of a second with Jennifer Santoyo there for ATP, right on the heels. Lauren Kopik there, followed up by Jennifer Price. Then it was Rachel Lieberman. That is that ATP Venom that was stinging, that's for sure. Catherine Monks, though, she walked away with a good little gap there of 1 second over Anna Russell. Then it was Anna Radford, Jane Despas, and then Megan Rathwell rounding it up for Stars the Pros Closet there in the A category for the women. And then in the C/Bs, there it is. Jessica Hamilton, is that correct? Did she race twice today? I'm going to have to double check with our man Martin Carew, but
possible.
She may have raced twice today. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, out of New Zealand, we'll say Jessica, congratulations. Vicky Sue ending up in second place, and then a couple Australians, Selena Shake and Annabella Cox, rounding out your top 4. Lindsay Siegel, Susan Sharp are 5th and 6th today. Yumi Heebs, the Canadian, in 7th. Trish Carter, Lauren McGregor, Jennifer Baker, rounding out our top 10. That's our C women.
Yeah, in the C women's there. And then with the men, Matt Usborne walks away as they let him just kind of fade off into the distance because Wahoo Finesse had so many riders in that front group. Gray Ballou there comes on through the Canadian there, 4.4 watt per kilogram average, 5 seconds back, able to take that second place over Payne Griffin. Kevin Bouchard Hall for ATP, the first one across the line for them. Jordan Shane then rounded it out. He was the climber on the day, got lots of points for Wahoo Finesse on the day, though the most, they for sure walked away with this one for 20 points for the race overall. New heights there for the dirt team. Joel Carroll, also Wahoo Finesse. Daniel Yankees, I'm seeing a pattern here. Wahoo Finesse. Alex Tenselhoff, Wahoo Finesse. But then it's Justin Pierficati for ODZ across the line. B category, Dave, it's Anwar at the top.
Hey, Nathan, confirming that from Martin there at WTRL, Jessica has raced 10 times in the last 5 weeks in the ZRL. So she's our Iron Woman out here. Imagine if Kevin Bouchard Hall trained 5 hours a week, how good he'd be. All right, taking a look at our America's East Division 1 for the Bees. Anwar Gorham, way to go, Anwar, taking the win. Brian Owens for second. Ryan Kettleson in third. Brad Dirksen In fourth, Seb Latifi. In fifth, it's going to be Eric Janot, in sixth. Chris Dorsey, seventh. Joe Thomas, eighth. Brian Domicus in ninth. And then rounding out our top 10 is Matthew Kiefer, and that's going to be your B's for the men out east in the Americas.
Looks like our C category is still getting across the line. I'm going to give it a minute here, and then we'll make sure to try and take a look at how things played out. You can also always. Oh, sorry about that, guys. We cut to the wrong. We need the women's standings here. Apologies on that, guys. But the current standings. There we go. That's the situation. ATP Racing Venom really starting to put the seal on that top spot here. 99 points. And Saris, the pros closet, watching those red balloons float away as 94, 5 points back. They're going to have the work cut out for them. Then Finesse Wahoo Chicks there at 91 points, top three. Going to be a battle maybe for that second spot. We'll have to wait and see. Then it's Cryogen Gallopin. Revo Whips. Sisu I Race Like a Girl. A battle for fourth, it looks like, between them, separated by 4 points. And then it is going to be BRT Dark Kittens, as well as Wadi Inc. WA, ATP Racing Stingers, and then Misunderstood is now understood in 10th place still, holding down steady. Tsunami there, 93 there, Dave.
Yeah, it's good job. Is there a 6-point advantage then over the Margaritas in second? ATP Racing Hive sitting in third, but they're tied with Wadi Inc. WC2, so they're stuck at 83 there for third and fourth. BRT, the Flaming Kittens, in 68 points. Another tie right behind them, Revo Doves. So it's Doves and Otters right behind the Kittens there. Revo Doves in sixth, Herd of Otters in seventh. The No Drama Llamas, good job, Aaron, as they sit on 64 points in eighth. CCNS, the Merry Cranksters, in ninth. And a shout out to Ken Kesey, I think, there. And then we've got Cryogen Obese rounding out our top 10. Doing a great job with the names, I must say. I think the women's C's have the best names of all, Nathan.
I have to. They're pretty good. They are pretty good. I'm getting a special request, and because we did not show this earlier today, I am going to do that. Plus, we are waiting for some of the men in the C's to finish. So let me go ahead and thank you for the request over at, and I'm seeing a lot of Twitch viewers tonight. Shout out to all the Twitch viewers that are hanging out. And because I've seen you so active in chat, we are going to go ahead and throw this out there just for you. And then we'll jump in with the men here in just a moment. If I can grab these results here. And the Team League standings. Maybe Martin's messing with them a little bit for us. No, he's not. All right, there we go. And this is the situation. Since we didn't throw them earlier, this is the MEA West 1, Division 1A. We weren't able to show these earlier today, and this is the situation. Restart, 95. Plastic Cockneys, 93. Innovation Penetrator, followed by WTR Skylab. Tied there. That's interesting because WTR Skylab and Team Torcalis, there was a big separation prior to this race. So Team Torcalis are bumping themselves up slowly but surely, with still half the season to go here. Team Experimental 78, Canyon Development Squad moved their way up a little bit. There was 74. Evo Vamos followed up by Zunderstatement, and then DZR Dynamic Danes there tied up at 61. They had that one rider there in the final sprint, actually, which I think that's what kept them there sitting in that top 10, Dave, as we look at the Bs.
Nathan, I'm going to throw it back to you super quick because I just did something to my screen here.
All right,
I got
it
it
here.
back. You know what? I got it. Sorry,
right,
there.
He's got it.
INC.
He's got it under control, everybody.
That was my first a pro gamer moment there. I almost panicked, but I channeled my inner you. So there we go. INC Alien with a perfect score. I think, Nathan, we're down to 2 teams with a perfect score at this point. INC Alien is one of them. So 5 for 5. There is R3RELO, second place with 92 points. It's going to be WTRL Skyfall sitting in third, BRT Draft Beers in fourth, BRT Craft Beers. So, wow, Draft Beers better than Craft Beers. Who knew? As that's fourth and fifth right now, KRTB.
Oh, I don't know.
I know, some
Come
people
on,
would
Craft
argue.
Beers, let's go, BRT Craft Beers. You need to bring the IPA to the table.
I knew
Let's
that'd
go.
get you. I knew that would get a few people. Well, the proof is in the racing. KRTB, Cycle Circus in 6, Socks for Watts, Aero AF in 7, AAF in 8, KSTB1 in 9th, and then TFC Magneto rounding out our top 10. I love the spirit out there. There's no doubt about it. Let's see what's happening with the men in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa West.
Division
1.
1C. Here we go. Yep, it's just for Glory with 95 points, or 94 points, reading that correctly. TFC Bugatti followed up by TBR 44T. Gonna need a little more for a sprint to catch up with those top boys because 44T just doesn't seem to be cutting it, but able to hold on for third place, so currently standing. KRTC Love Guns, then RR Woolly Rhinos, Zwift Scotland C1, Zunder Dogs, Belgian Zwift Riders Rhino 3, TFC Mercenaries, and BRT Cheetahs. That's the situation for the C's in the West Division. 1 C's, and then the Rhinos at the top there for the D's, Dave.
Yeah, RR White Rhinos 95. Look how close it is, just 1 point. This is going to be fun to watch, as this will be maybe one of the best divisions of all. Cryogen, the hard not pass, with 94 points in second, and still there within striking distance is Team CLS Racing D. In fourth place, it's the Herd of Fools and Horses. In fifth, I cannot see that team name without, you made me laugh so hard last week, Nathan. So the D team in fifth on 80 points, TFC Wolverine 6th, Team Italy 4 and 7th, BRT Draconis 8th, Herd of One Trick Ponies in 9th, and 2 guys, Mon Chic in 10th. That's your D's for our West men in the EMEA. Again, that happened earlier in the day, but we just wanted to do some housekeeping and get everyone up to speed. Make sure we give credit where it's due, as we're now moving into the final third of our season here for the Zwift Racing League.
That's all for Def. That's all for Def. That's all for you there, buddy. You rock, man. You rock. That's all. So here we go. And for the results, we're waiting for the D's to come in, but everybody matters that's across the line so far. No, just kidding. So Craig Back is here. Division C, 1C here for America's East. He takes it down 2 seconds up. Looks like a lot of late attacks on that 1% uphill gradient, actually, into the descent. It's always a big risk. You see them coming on a freight train here. Andy Kroll unable to hang on there 2 seconds back. What's that, Dave?
I was just going to say, look at the watts per kilo. These guys are not messing around. 3
right
watts per kilo to win.
Right on the edge. Right on the edge there, Dave. It's time for you to get in there. Let's go. Craig Wilson there, man. Chad Hagen, Cade Favo, Sean Fogenberg. That's going to be Kevin Bangston, Ken Johnson, Perry McFall, and Jason Kaplan. Good to see Jason out there hammering away. Nice job, Jason. I believe that's going to be Jason Kaplan coming from Zwift HQ. The D's, though, man. Come on, boys. Let's get it moving. Let's go ahead and take a look here, though, and see how things are going in the men's standings, because this is the situation with Finesse Wahoo, Dave.
Wow, look at that. I tell you what, Nathan, when I can make 3 watts per kilo, you'll be the second person to know, and I'll get on a team time trial team because I'll be so proud of myself. All right, so with 99 points for Finesse Wahoo, they are putting on a clinic out here, just one shy of a perfect score. ATP Racing Hydrogen, 89 points for second. ODZ, the Sharknado, 82 points. That's good for third. Then you've got the meme team, Cryogen Alp d'Huez. That's fourth and fifth. And then Wadi Inc. A in sixth. FW, that's the Tea Party in seventh. Endurance Works eighth. Dirt Alert in ninth. And rounding out our top 10, the Rouleurs. Polo Velo A. So that's your America's East Division 1 men, the race that we just watched. Nathan, I'll let you have the pleasure of doing the B's here.
FW 3.9, BMTR B2. There is quite the gap there between first and second. I think FW is walking away with this one. I think BMTR also have kind of solidified themselves. This one looks like it may be decided in a lot of these top spots already here. Gotham Grinders and Dirty Diesel as well as Dirty Ducks, I think they've got a battle between themselves. We'll see how that ends up playing out there. Lion, there's a lot of racing left, though. So there is a lot of racing left. Don't give up just yet. Come on, everybody. Keep it moving. I think you may be able to pull something off, especially if you figure out that TTT. But then it's going to be on the river at Ustrain, tied up with Rulers, Polo Velo, Dirty Watts, and then WTR Bombers. TRL Bombers. That is the situation currently for the Bees. And then Racing Nitrogen there, ATP. They are everywhere, Dave.
No kidding. 98 points for ATP Racing Nitrogen to be on top of the table here. Second is the Dirty Grinders, the Dad's Indoors Riding Trainers, the Grinders version. Second are our Nuclear Rhinos, not your regular everyday garden variety rhinos. Nuclear ones in third. Dirty Time to Grind in fourth. Z Sunderwear in fifth. Endurance Nation C2C sitting in sixth. Herd Mentality seventh. Endurance Nation C2C1 in eighth. Crouch, and the SA Calabra in ninth. And then we've got Team Type 1, the Carbonauts, rounding out our top 10. Okay.
All right. Well, and just to make sure that we didn't miss the results for those Ds, I'm just double checking them here real quickly before we take off. They are probably rolling to the line, but I think we're going to have to call it because we got to take a break, and there is a little bit of time here between now and our next broadcast. But if you are going to be looking
doing
for results,
that one?
Not me. I've been doing broadcasts since 1 a.m. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from broadcast. I'm going to get. I still gotta be seated and hanging out here, but it's going to be you and Kate.
You're still working.
I'm still working.
You're still working. Yeah.
I'm going to be thinking about my ride though, and my jumps. I'm going to be working on my jumps and openers, getting ready for Thursday's team time trial as I'm guest riding again.
You're back with the team, huh?
I'm back with the team.
Okay.
Back with the team, and then tomorrow gonna do maybe some threshold openers. I need to get back on the horse here a little bit, but I think we'll be all right. Maybe it was some good rest. I had one of these rides yesterday. Now Nathan training, everyone's so interested in that, I bet. But I had one of these rides where I used the a workout plan in Zwift, and it ended up being a force workout because my wattage kept fluctuating so low that it got me into the death spiral with the ERG mode. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. You go into a death spiral where it goes to like 50, 60 RPMs, and then it constantly makes you do like 100 watts more than you're supposed to be doing because of that. So I ended up just embracing it though, and just having a force workout. It was like as if I was climbing a 20% gradient for an hour straight, and it was supposed to be an endurance workout. So anyways, a little bit.
It sounds absolutely
amazing.
It was
amazing.
Horrific.
Oh yeah, it was one of the best times ever. I was playing Hearthstone and just kind of hanging out, while doing this grinding workout. But D's are in. The D's are in. That story got us to the line for the D category here. And you know what? Since we already been on it, we'll just make it happen. Here we go, making sure everybody gets a little bit of love out there. And back on over to the amazing music that makes you know that we are all about the results here. This is it. It's going to be Jerome out there. Go ahead, Dave. You want to take over for the D's?
I was going to say, yeah. If you don't mind, can I do this one? Thanks, Nathan. Jerome Brodeur taking the win. Jerome representing Canada. Way to Canuck up, my friend. Great job. Jason Keller for second. Matthew Derry ends up in third. Scott Haviland fourth. Damien S. in fifth. Sixth place going to Ryan Robinson. Seventh place is Ali Hassani, so another Canadian there. 3 Canadians in our top 10 with Mark Bennett in 8th, John Witt 9th, and Matt Martin rounding out our top 10 for our Ds. I really appreciate our D-men giving it their all out there. So guys, good racing today. You are the gladiators of Zwift, no doubt about it. Nathan, I'll give you the honors with our, let's see how the teams have stacked up after 5 weeks of racing.
The league's up, and I believe we should be good on the leagues here. ATP Racing Butane, they're 91 points there. Team Type 1 Beta Cells, they're 86.5 behind, still in the run for that first place. Herd of Fighting Frasians, 83 there, third place. 30 Drafters, tied for fourth place with ATP Racing Helium right on their heels there. Herd of Plowing Urchin? Is that going to be, are those... Is that a fish or a bird?
Percheron?
Neither.
Yeah. It's a kind of dog, actually, is what they're doing. The Frisian.
You're way off there, Nathan. You're just completely have no idea what.
Okay.
Yeah, turn Dakota.
I'm looking it up. I'll Google that, Nathan, while you're doing the
Manua Loa there for Cryogen. That is that a climb in Hawaii?
Horse.
Or one of the. Well, isn't it
It's a
supposed
horse,
to be climbs?
Nathan.
Well, not Mauna Loa though. That's a climb somewhere
Oh
in
no,
like
that's
the Hawaiian Islands or something.
absolutely. I believe that's the name of the volcano that goes from sea level to 13,000 and
The
some
one
odd
that
feet.
Vegan did recently? Is that the same thing? And
Correct.
Jennifer Beal?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay,
It
gotcha.
covers every climate zone on planet Earth outside of one. In that, it's like a 6-hour ride, from what I've heard, for a strong rider, but one of the most interesting, diverse rides on planet Earth. And
Yeah, that was interesting to watch with Bishop and Vegan Cyclists. If you haven't checked out that Jeremiah Bishop and them doing that to the top, it was very interesting to see how tamed it was. That's for sure. Cranky Joints Bike Club there at STL Newbies. That is the standings for the D's. All right, everybody got their love out there today. That's for sure when it comes to the standings and the results. We appreciate everyone tuning in. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit those follow buttons, subscribe buttons, turn on those notifications. It helps you know anytime that we go live, anytime that we even schedule a broadcast, it will tell you. If you turn on your notifications and you click all, you'll know every time that we schedule a broadcast to go live. Next up, we're going to have the West. That will be at 9 something CST in a little over an hour. Kate and Dave will be here, and I will be in the background hanging out, chatting with everybody in chat and making sure that all the images come on through while Martin hangs out and makes sure that you guys get all your results. So that's going to be today. We will see you in just a little bit. Go somewhere. Go to the other page to watch. Or go to sleep.
don't just sit there. Don't just sit there for an hour waiting for us.
Cheers, everybody. We appreciate all you. We're Zwift Community
We'll be
Live.
back.
I'm Nathan Guerra Dave Towle. We'll see you in a little over an hour. And as always, right on.